There we go. Like to call the meeting of our Sustainability Commission to order. Let's start with the pledge. Councilwoman. Thank you. I don't have a roll call of the roll call, but we've got Tucker King. Yeah, let's say Tucker. Yeah, do that thing.
Here.
Devin.
Present.
Zach.
Here.
Let's go around. Lauren.
Here.
Jeff.
Here.
And Fonda.
Here.
Thank you. So sorry we missed the last meeting. We had some confusion and some problems. I think we're kind of back on the road. Our guest asked out at the last meeting so that he could go to the data center tour, so now he has the job of telling us a little bit about that. So we, as a commission, we, of course, talked about meeting with different department heads on sustainability, so Jerry gets the honor of being our first one. So Jerry, if you could talk to us about your sustainability efforts.
Yep.
Which will include, I suppose, things like the new truck and.
I got a hand of, because I stopped late going with our, and I wish I'd have got it, because I had a lot more.
Oh,
stuff
okay.
I wanted to stick in here, but,
Yeah, well, we can always recall you if we have to.
What are you doing next time?
Thank you, Jerry, for doing that.
So I started out with the solar field, it's just, yeah, the thing's on, just to kind of, and that's my outline on the front is all it is.
Okay.
Just to kind of tell you what, how we got to where we're at. Second page is an aerial photo that shows, I outlined in yellow where our solar field is. We looked at biogas, because of course we got anaerobic digesters, we make biogas, and kind of ran the numbers, and we just didn't have enough biogas to make electricity and really move the needle much. We also looked at wind, and that's definitely viable where we're at. We're in a place where we could do wind. At the time, Microsoft wasn't going to be a neighbor. It was just us in the cornfields. And, but wind requires some specialized maintenance, and we thought solar would be simple, and it turns out it really was pretty simple. So we looking at that, we decided on solar. That's been 7 years or so back. And we decided on a 1 megawatt field, which was about a 15-year payback, which is kind of long, but the panels are guaranteed for 20 and they last for 25 is what you find. And the sewage plant's going to be there a long time, I'm pretty sure. So we thought that was a safe bet, and so we built the 1 megawatt solar field. That land where we built it was, some of it was corn south of that south road. This is oriented, with north to the top like you're used to. The area south of the south road was corn. The farmer was farming it and thought it was his. And the part to the north of what we call the south road was an old sludge lagoon, really poor soils, grass would hardly grow. So we weren't going to use it. Seemed like a good place to put a solar field. So and we had the land. So that's how we sited it. It seemed like people weren't really clear, and our employees aren't really clear how the whole works. So I did a real simple electrical power flow diagram on the next page. And when the sun is shining, the solar power plant can produce substantially more power than we use. We use about 250 kilowatts. It can produce almost 1,000 kilowatts, almost a megawatt. So during the day, if you start at the solar power plant box, it goes into metering, and some of it goes to NIPSCO, and some of it goes down and back into the treatment plant. So we're feeding both NIPSCO and the treatment plant when there's a good sun, when the sun's out. Then at night, of course, we're not producing any more solar, so then we're pulling in the grid. We've got an agreement with NIPSCO that says if I give NIPSCO a kilowatt hour, I get that kilowatt hour back, even Steven. The legislature killed that, or IUR, I don't know, it's either the legislature or IURC killed that kind of shortly after we made the agreement with NIPSCO, because of course the utilities don't like net metering. They don't like solar at all. But that, we got in under the deadline. The next, this chart, shows kind of, I just took 1 month and I could have put, or 1 year, but I could have put more on there. Kind of shows how we do, this is last year. And if you look on the left, that's percent of wastewater treatment plant needs, and that's like the whole month total, how many kilowatt hours we made. So you can see in January, we're like 18% of what we need. We're just a small, the solar produces. But then like in September and August, we're running 140, 160, almost 170%. So that when we're making that much power and we're not using it, that goes into our bank. And if you look at our bill, there's a bank on our bill that we build up all summer, and then the winter it goes down. So our, Jamie Francis started working for us a couple years ago, I guess now, and she started in the summer and she's paying the bills, and she's used to an electric bill of $350. And then comes January or February, when our bank ran to nothing, the bill was $25,000. And she's like, this can't be right. Well, that's what it is. So we get about $25,000 a month worth of electricity off the solar power plant. The next table here is kind of a history of how we've done. We had some rough. We've cut usage at the treatment plant through a variety of measures I'll talk about. And we had some issues. You can kind of see 1.1 million kilowatt hours for solar, 1.17 for the first 2019, 1.2. And we really should be producing around 1.5 or 1.6. The last year, 2025, is partial. That's why we're only 1.39. But that's about our complete production, and that next column is percent of needs. The problems I talked about were NIPSCO had to accommodate us that much power coming into their system. So they made modifications of their substation, and they said, oh, well, now we only can take 20% in, now we can take 50, and we kept turning things on and off, on and off. And they took quite a long time, really it was over 2 years to really get us all squared away. So we lost some power, some money on 19 and 20, but after that, things were pretty steady. And I got the equivalent homes, because I think megawatts and kilowatts are terms that a lot of people just kind of, so, you know, we're running around 140, 150 homes worth of power created. And that also tells you what a power hog a sewage treatment plant is. It takes a lot of power to operate a sewage treatment plant. The last page is this is my calculations, and I'm an engineer, not an accountant, but I think it's pretty good. It's an estimate of when the payback for the project takes place. And what I did is I took how much production and multiplied by what NIPSCO's power is, cost is, and said, okay, what's the value of the solar power plant? So you can see 220,000, 230,000, 249,000, 302,000. Those are what the value of that output of that solar power plant is. And then I compared that in a running total to what we originally paid for that solar power plant. So we had a construction loan plus interest. So over the whole life of the loan, 3.48 million. And I just divided that by the period to see, okay, about how long does it take. And we're down to 13 years in a payback. And that's thanks, so to speak, to NIPSCO. They keep raising the rates. And so when they raise the rates, it gets more expensive, the output of the solar plant gets more valuable, and the payback gets shorter. So they're making it more and more cost-effective for us in a way. I haven't built solar at my home, but that is something I'm going to do. I've started on it, haven't completed it yet. The last the last page is a picture we took this morning. We had the police department out to, with their drone to inspect the top of a tank, and they have an infrared setting on that, to track people. They have a fabulous drone, it is first rate. And we said, hey, could you fly over our solar power plant, because that's how they inspect it, is with infrared. If it's not producing power, it's less warm, because of course there's resistance in the panel. And I circled some of the bad spots where we've got problems. And there's some, we got 1,200 or so panels, and there's maybe about 30 that we're going to have to replace here in the short run. I haven't quite figured out which panel to buy to replace them, and exactly how much that's going to cost us, because we just kind of got going on this. We had a problem earlier this year where solar panels produce DC power, like a battery. So you string them all together, you keep adding the voltage up very higher, higher, higher as you go from panel to panel, and it gets about 1,500 volts DC, and then you have an inverter, which Todd would know what a VFD is, a variable speed drive. It's like a variable speed drive. It takes that DC power and converts it to AC, and then sticks it in the grid for us. Those are supposed to last about 10 years, and so we're closing in on that. We haven't had one fail other than this one had some reason it shut down, and you had to jump through some hoops to get it going. So we're trying to put better monitoring in this system now, because we didn't know that thing failed until we took a drone over and looked. The system was supposed to be monitored. There's 18 of these inverters, was supposed to be monitored over the internet, and the company that set that all up for us went out of business promptly after this thing got going. So we're trying to figure out how to get it in our own computer system so we can monitor ourselves. So, but it's been remarkably trouble-free. It just works, which is awfully nice. So that's kind of my talk on solar. Are there questions about solar anyone's got?
I was going to ask you, or maybe Ty knows even, what's the exchange rate now with after I know you guys, I remember when you got that thing signed before the end of the year so you could do the 1-for-1 with NIPSCO. Do you have an idea what it is now?
Do you know?
Yeah, it's about 1.25 their generation rate. So, I mean, the average is around, so retail rate, Jerry said, I don't know, you're paying what, 14, 15 cents kWh right now? Yeah, retail, or generation rate times 1.5 is around 5 cents. So
Yeah,
it's about a
that's-
third.
Yeah, about a third.
So the paybacks are going to be longer on the new thing, although Jerry's indicated some of the panels are more efficient, or are improved over what he has, so that might mitigate it a little, I guess.
And if it's your home, you either don't produce excess or you put it in a battery.
Yeah.
My neighbor has a bunch of batteries, and he pulls up his Tesla and plugs in. And I'm like, that's a pretty good deal. Solar and battery and Tesla,
Yeah.
not a bad deal. But any other
Ty, did you?
solar?
Yeah, I was going to add, you're right. You design around not selling back as much. I mean, in this model, you can get to almost 100% of total annual usage, but now you're lucky to get half half to 2/3 based on the fact that selling back isn't as good as it was back in 2018.
Yeah.
I remember that was part of your strategy, was to get that signed before the law went into effect.
There were clouds on the horizon. We knew that
Yeah.
the utilities were gunning to shut that down. So, yeah, you could see that coming. I'm worried about what happens at the end of our 20-year contract, because if we can't renew it, now all of a sudden I'm giving NIPSCO a lot of power super cheap, and they're making out like bandits. So we've been talking about, well, when that date approaches, can we then have enough battery that we just
You can do your
internalize it all and use it in-house?
Yeah.
The other thing I've been looking at is we're running, 90, 92, 93%. 100 would be really cool. And I've been looking at, how do I get to 100? And I'm not sure. The NIPSCO has some limitations. You can only produce so much, so I can't have it on that grid. I'm gonna figure it out, because I ought to be able to get over 100
Yeah.
somehow. That's a bragging point.
So you don't have any battery component, it just goes right in, there's no,
We don't, and because NIPSCO gives it back even Steven, there's no motivation for me to have a battery. So, but there will be.
a 20-year point or
Yeah,
whatever.
there will be when this thing runs out. Any other comments, questions? I was going to talk a little bit about what we've done in the treatment plant over years. All our big motors all have variable frequency drives on them, so you can speed it up and slow it down to match the load. We've done that over, I don't know, 15, 20 years. We've slowly transitioned to the variable speed drives. We've, our heating, our process with our biogas, and we also heat a couple buildings. So I wish we had more biogas. At one time, we were getting waste food from Meyer, which made gobs of biogas. That was really nice, but Meyer killed their program. And we've had a couple other minor sources, but we need somebody who can give us a consistent waste organic material that's biodegradable, and then it would become more viable to use that biogas for something other than internal heating. The other plants have done that, like West Lafayette takes all the food waste from Purdue. And we started with Notre Dame, and for a while they hauled to us, and then they found someone, it cost them money to haul to us, they found someone close. And so we were
This
done.
entity, is this entity under construction, and do you know much about the one at the industrial park? Is that,
They're talking about doing exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
I don't know their sources of organic material. They've
Right.
got to have one because they're building a large facility with 2 anaerobic digesters, a bunch of water treatment. It's an impressive facility.
you would think the schools all over would be a resource too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good concentrated source.
Is biogas similar to what caused the big compost fire? Is that kind of comparable? Obviously not at that capacity, but
But, when you have decomposition out there, it creates heat, and then you have all that fuel. So, I don't know, you would suspect it puts out methane. Likely, I don't really know that for sure, if a pile of wood creates methane, but I bet it does. Our process, we put our solids in a tank, 2 tanks, that are heated at 95 degrees, because that's the optimum temperature for the bacteria that create biogas, create methane. So we pump our solids in there and mix it up, and it's a thick, it's 3-4% solids, it's pretty gross stuff, and sludge, and mix it, and the bacteria love that home, and they make biogas. And we store it, we've got a dome that's kind of like an upside down water glass, so when it bubbles up, we capture it, and then we use it in our boilers. And it's an old technology, anaerobic digestion is an old technology, but it's a good one, and it's coming around. As you mentioned, they're building one out in Kingsbury.
so you just need old food or like specific, like fruits, vegetables?
Just about anything that's edible
Okay,
will produce biogas.
interesting.
You can even use manure, because that's, cattle don't digest food very well. There's a bunch of bioavailable organics in there. You can use, when Meyer was doing it, anything they pulled off the shelf that was out of date, they depackaged, throw in a grinder, and bring it to us. And man, it worked. It was amazing. Our solids are about 40, 50, 60, well, say 55, 60%, we call volatile acids, which is bioavailable and can make gas. Food waste from Meyer was 95%. So like everything we put in there was in the gas. So that was cool. That was nice stuff.
I mean, would like wood chips or anything? I mean, I know that, for example, when we cut trees, or the street department kind of just keeps a large pile of wood chips that people use for mulch or things, but it's not really mulch, so to say. It doesn't go through that second process to create like mulch. It's just like raw wood chips. Is that something that would be, I mean, would that be able to be digested in a time period? I know the cellulose fiber is a lot harder to break down.
That's where I was going. I don't know how hard it is to go from cellulose to something that bacteria can eat.
Yeah,
Certainly pyrolysis would do it.
yeah,
Yeah, you get a syngas right away off that.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah. it's a good thought.
If you had extra biogas, what would you do with it?
Like West Lafayette runs it through a small turbine, and they make electricity and stick it right in the grid. The place out in Kingsbury is actually cleaning up and putting it in the pipeline, NIPSCO's pipeline, which I was really surprised. It takes some effort because biogas has contaminants. It's got siloxane and hydrogen sulfide and CO2, and you got to strip those all out and compress it and dewater it before you. So it's not easy to do. We put the dirty gas right in an old-fashioned boiler. But it's, yeah, once you start like a high-speed turbine, it's precision, and you got to have good gas to make that happen. The last, and I don't know if this is really sustainability, I added a resilience category on my little outline here, because resilience is with the weather and maybe uncertainty in the grid, you start really thinking about resilience. And things we've been doing, we've been adding generators to our pumping stations so that when there's a power outage, boom, the generators start. One thing we've been investigating lately is someone up in Western Canada is now packaging batteries to take the place of a generator. So you just put a battery pack there, plug it in, and you know, a generator can run for days and days and days, and obviously a battery pack can't. But if it got you a day or two, you'd probably be gold. And then there's no maintenance, no diesel fuel, no emissions. It's kind of a cool system. So we're looking at that. We've got portable generators, 3 portable pumps, and then we're standardizing all our pumps so that if a station gets blasted by lightning, which happens, you can grab a pump from this one and put it in that one, and the station keeps working. And when you got 33 pumps, pump stations, you really start thinking about that, because no one knows where they're at, but they're scattered all over town. We got lift stations that are pumping sewage from low areas to the gravity sewers, and they have to run 24/7. So, yeah, that's a big resilience issue for me, is those pump stations.
The batteries sound interesting for that because most of the outages are not.
They're not very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there's no maintenance with a battery system. You plug it in and
No
away
fuel.
she goes. No fuel.
To worry about spills or.
Completely quiet. You don't got to bother the neighbor with the diesel engine running. We use natural gas mainly, but they're a nice idea. And did you want me to talk about the data center visit, or you got something else?
You've just put the 2 electric pickup trucks on the road, so you don't have a lot of time with those yet, really. But
Yeah, we can ask Devin. She's driving one of them. I think they're cool as heck.
No, they're definitely pretty cool. We've had them, couple weeks now.
Yeah.
Charged the first one Friday night. It was down to 40%, and it's on a 110 right now. 220's coming, but Monday morning, 82%. So with it'll charge probably up to 100% overnight with the 220.
And you
once
don't
those
wanna-
get in place.
if we'll pull up next to a Corvette and the guy says you want to race, you're in, right?
It has some get up, I'm not gonna lie. Not that I have tested it, but I've heard that it has a little
For
bit
the
of,
record.
a little bit
Acceleration.
of get up and go, yeah.
Yeah, they're 4-motor trucks,
Okay.
so there's a motor behind each wheel, and they're good for, I don't remember if it's 360 or 380 miles, which is a pretty long run. They don't charge quite as fast as some of but they will use the Tesla superchargers. There's an adapter that we haven't got yet, so we're gonna see how that works. One feature that, besides, I'm gonna put signs on them that say powered by the sun, because we're gonna charge them off our solar power plant. But another feature that's really neat is they have a 220 volt panel in the back. And the panels are powerful enough, they can run our little pump stations. So we're gonna put a reel on there, and you can pull up to a pump station and plug it in. So it becomes another portable generator in effect for us. So
Yeah, you can power a house for several days, I guess, an outage with those.
I'd love to have one of those. They are cool. And they I don't know why Ford and everyone else didn't market them to utilities, because it's perfect. We don't go anywhere. We drive around here, not very many miles, and they're super low maintenance. You got brakes, and that's about it. You got no oil, you got no filters, they're super low maintenance, and they got a potential, the batteries are now modular too, so as the batteries age, you can pull out the weak modules, stick new ones in.
Before I retired, I sent Ford an email suggesting we'd be a good testing ground for them, and, you know, range wouldn't be an issue, and I never heard back from them.
I think that'd have been a good marketing
Yeah.
tack for them.
They're ideal for utilities like us because you're not gonna have a range issue.
And they are, the Ford F-150s anyways, are extraordinarily well-made. They can tow a huge load, not real far because you start running down the battery, but around here, we don't care. And they have a great deal of capacity in the bed.
An aluminum body.
And aluminum body, you can't put, we found out you can't put City of LaPorte stickers on them. They fall right off.
They gotta have the sticker kind, you can't do the magnet.
Magnets, yeah. The magnets fall right off, so yeah, you gotta have the stickers. Yeah, they're Ford F-150, and they look a lot like Ford F-150s. They don't look, you gotta look close to see that it's something that's a Lightning. Yeah, so, they're cool.
Well, in the data center, you visited that, and we'd like to hear your impressions on the data center and maybe what's different about that, if it is, from what's going in LaPorte, as far as you know.
Well, I'm not sure I know what's going into LaPorte, because it's the data center folks have been pretty bum. Microsoft owns from Boyd Boulevard all the way to 250 South, almost from Lincoln Way to Travis Ditch. Yeah, it's a huge area. I don't remember how many acres, 500, 600, something like that. So they've been sitting on it for years, so potentially we got one coming, I don't know when, and others are interested. The data center we went to in Hammond, you guys may know this site, as you go up leave Indiana onto the toll road and go over the Skyway. As soon as you get to that border, if you looked over toward the lake, there used to be a power plant there with 3 smokestacks that had circles
Yep.
on them, red circles. Well, they tore that down, and that's where the data center's at. This one is all air-cooled. They have a permit to pull water out and discharge to Lake Michigan. They're on the shore, but they don't do it. They're all air-cooled. The air is all piped in all various locations into the data center, and then rises to the top floor, and the top floor is essentially just a giant duct that pulls all that hot air down to the chillers, and they run around and around. So everyone's heard about how much water they use. This one does not. It uses only sanitary wastewater. So their power, I don't remember what their power usage was, but this is a small data center, and the power usage is high, as you might expect. The place is quiet. That's always a concern. If you were standing outside the border, I don't think you could hear a thing. They started a generator for us so that we could hear how loud it is, because they have backup generators. And it was a pretty silenced generator. The guy who ran it was really interesting, because he's like, these guys who are building these things have such deep pockets that if you want a critically silenced generator at each site, they'll pay, they won't fight, they'll put it in. So we're gonna get to that at some point, negotiating over what they're gonna build. My other impression was they said they were very, very good for Hammond's tax situation. I don't know any more than that, that's just what they told us. And then the other thing that really struck me is they had parking for maybe 20 cars. So I don't know how many people. What?
Not a lot of people there.
Not a lot of people. We saw 6. Walking through the whole site, I think we saw 6. And a couple of those might have been there because we were there, I don't know. But,
Do you know how
yeah.
many square foot that one was that you went to?
I don't know that I know that number. We could get it off Google Earth easy enough, because you can see the building clear as a bell. It's just north of the casino,
Okay.
or
And so-
west of the casino.
This was already an industrial site previously, so it's not a change in use necessarily from what it was previously. I mean, would you describe the campus as, I mean, it's right on the lake shore, but it's already like kind of an industrial area. Is it industrial feeling on the outside, or I mean, how does it feel like?
They didn't take any special efforts to make it I've seen some of the other data centers when I was in Phoenix, and they wanted to blend in, they had, their grounds were beautiful and everything. This one is not like that. It's okay looking, but their neighbor is like is the lake, and then really the toll road.
Yeah,
So they're not trying to, and they're not even trying to be particularly quiet,
okay.
but they were.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, so I've seen some of the ones in Phoenix were pretty nice looking places. And you figured out that they were data centers because you see generator, all the way down the side. Then you
Yeah.
start seeing the cooling towers and go, oh.
Yeah.
But other than that, if you don't know what you're looking for, you wouldn't pick them out.
Well, the only reason I ask, one of the things that has been talked about is creating like a campus-like area if we do receive more in the future for where these people could buy into, essentially like creating a park or whatever. I mean, I would think that if that was the case, it would be incumbent on us to create some kind of standard that says you will provide as much sustainable or natural habitat as a part of that to make it blend in and also provide space for, native species or whatever it is. I mean, as you said previously, they have pretty deep pockets. If we created a level of ask that makes it so that they're providing more than just tax finance, but also, some kind of benefit to the public, I think that's something that we should look into in the future.
One of the data centers, I saw a preliminary layout. I don't know if it's probably not the final one, but they had large setbacks and tree lines all the way around the whole place.
Yeah,
They were trying to make sure that it was not going to bother anyone.
yeah,
They also have a great deal of security.
I believe that.
Yeah, they have a great, this one did too.
Yeah.
When you came in, there was a person at the door, and you went through the ID and everything, and if you're okay, you went into a box, and then someone inside said, yeah, they're okay, and pushed the other button and let you out of the box.
Really?
So, yeah, they were pretty serious. I think the box had scanners in it.
Oh, okay.
It was subtle if they were there, but I was looking and maybe. Yeah, so. The other thing I bring up about data centers, one of the data centers called me about reuse of water.
Okay.
So they're talking about using the wastewater treatment plant effluent for their cooling. Perhaps Travis Ditch, the water in Travis Ditch. And I've been looking at some ways we could, data center water is high dissolved solids because they're evaporating it, and the solids, high dissolved solids get left. So what do you do with that when they're done? They can pump it into the treatment plant and then blend it, but that takes treatment plant capacity, which is really expensive, that the city would like to hold on for future. So we've been looking at, well, could we build a side stream that only treats data center water? That and maybe some of the reuse might make it a lot more viable.
Okay, here's a question. Does the treatment plant effluent, is that harder or softer than normal city water generally? I know our city water, as it comes out of the wells, is pretty hard generally, and that's just like normal for our region or whatever. Is the effluent, have you ever tested that? I mean, is that something you guys test? Is the hardness?
We do, and I can't tell you the exact number, but I think it's around half.
Oh, wow, okay,
The process actually consumes hardness,
okay,
particularly the process that removes ammonia, but it removes hardness. And also, we're a combined sewer system, so we get rainwater, we get other sources of dilution, water that's pretty soft.
okay.
So, it's not something we measure every day, so I don't know I could tell you exactly how it varies.
Yeah, but it would make sense that they would want our effluent over maybe some of our normal water if they had some kind of system, because our total dissolved solids in our normal treated water is a little bit higher than what the effluent is, so.
I've been trying to leverage it to filter our treatment plant effluent,
Yeah,
because that has benefits for the city. It would make phosphorus removal much easier. It's benefit to the people downstream. So that's one of the points of negotiation when the rubber hits the road with these data centers is, are they going to make improvements in the treatment plant
yeah.
for us? So we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Thank you. Anybody else have more questions for Jerry?
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice job. Very informative. And thanks for the graphics, too.
Yeah, I would like to post is it okay if we post the packet that you gave us online? Is that something that you would be willing to share?
They're all PDFs. I can send it to you.
Okay,
Yeah, and I'll send you the other stuff I didn't include.
okay.
I got a bunch of construction pictures and other things you might be interested in.
And you're free to go when we're done, if you want to, or you can stay. We don't,
My wife wants to eat dinner, so.
we don't hold anybody hostage, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On our agenda, Tucker, next is the Arbor Day, or really what, about tree planting. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so, I mean, we're looking at doing a fall planting still. I haven't gotten that contract out yet. I'm hoping to do a request for quote here before the end of this month is over. I don't think that's gonna happen considering it's the 28th, but, it'll probably be, here in the next week or so, just as a follow-up for that. And
Can I
then,
interrupt real quick while you're
Yes.
on that subject? I would like to, when we're doing a sewer project and we take down a bunch of trees, I'd like to write you guys a check for you to plant trees and then be done with it on my end. So think about that, if that's something you guys want to entertain.
yeah,
That would take us from zero budget to something over zero.
And I don't know how to I don't know how to do trees. I'd rather have people who know how to do trees.
yeah, I think that would work well with our tree fund and everything like that, so.
Consider it if
It would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome, that's really good.
Now, are we talking about the Blossom Trail or general planting?
This is about that, the money that was received from the Rotary Fund.
Okay.
So, yeah, I plan on getting, since it's below $50,000, we can do a request for quote for it. And I will put that out hopefully within the next week. And then their planting will occur late November, early December. And then that puts us in line for having an Arbor Day event with the Rotary Fund. Hopefully as the trees are blossoming around the lake, it'll be beautiful. We can actually point to what we did and what the Rotary helped us do, and it'll be good for everybody. So I would like to start getting the event planned ahead of time so we don't have any kind of last minute scrambling on it.
And the event itself in the spring, your Arbor Day?
Yeah, it'll be
sure.
for Arbor Day itself, yeah.
We've
But
had some practice.
this,
so.
the planting will be a part of the, hey, look at what we did, you know? I mean, it's to recognize the Rotary for what they did, but it's also to recognize Arbor Day, which is an important day for us, so.
Yes. All right, thank you. I'm not sure who we want to tie it. You're one of the people I wanted to talk. We talked about EV charging stations. We really think that needs to move because people are not able to come get their Teslas charged in LaPorte. Do you have any insights or your company on how, and contacts, people that we could probe or talk to about how we go about getting some stations installed?
Yeah, there are consultants that can work with the city on kind of the layout and what makes sense for types of stations, you know, what if they're fast charging or slow, you know, trickle and where and location, like mapping that out. And, I mean, there's different models too. They're not, you can set them up where you don't really pay much, and the people that use them pay them, you know, on a lease agreement. And it's, you know, charging stations have been around, gosh, for probably 5 to 10 years now, but they're getting more standardized. So it's, they're just easier now than they were when, you know, a lot of people tried to do them 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it's just more standardized and easy now, so.
I don't know whether it was Myers or Lowe's, but where they've got that bank of Tesla chargers in the lot. You know, we need some of those somewhere because where people aren't able to get their Teslas charged on a fast charger anywhere here. And so I think we want to engage in that, so.
Yeah, I think just working with the city to see, you know, where it makes sense in the community, where people will go. I believe Tesla does deals with grocery stores and things like that. So, you know, even discussing with Kroger, I don't think I've ever seen Tesla charging stations at Walmart's, which is interesting. They might have some.
Aldi lot would have been a great place for it if we'd have had that on the
Yeah,
radar.
yeah, but I mean, just reaching out to Tesla too to see if LaPorte has a location they'd be interested in, because I think they do that all themselves. I don't think anyone was really interested. I mean, they just lease the little land from
Right.
whoever owns it. So that's another option.
Okay, that's what we want to push in that direction, so, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, to add, I guess, the city itself tried to do this with a grant a few years back. I know that a lot of our stations currently are not in the state of repair that we would like, so it's been a big push on our end to improve that. And so I guess my question is it more common to see a city consider this like an asset that they maintain, or is it more common to see a partnership with a company that kind of does this, like public-private partnership kind of thing?
I've seen that change over the years. I've seen both. I think larger cities that have more resources can do it themselves. I think smaller communities tend to, like I said earlier, the model of having a company just take care of it all and take the revenue and maintenance. I mean, the thing is, they do require software upgrades, and, I mean, there is some operation and maintenance to them. And then, of course, the billing is always interesting, like where does the revenue come from, where does it go? There are interesting laws in Indiana that, you have to have a license to be a utility, so you can't sell power without, certain, like, so I know some communities have run into that, like being able to take revenue from selling power for someone to charge their car. But I also believe that there's different, that depends on the utility and at what, grid you're on. We're in MISO, which is easier than PJM, for those types of things. So, to answer your question, long-winded way is, I've seen both. I tend to see more of the service side coming more and more popular, where it's a company that does it all turnkey, and the municipalities kind of stay out of the mix. But I've seen, Indianapolis does it, I believe, or Marion County, maybe, I don't know which government. They maintain and have some sort of revenue share, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, ideally, with our budgetary situation, contacting Tesla to put in stations for us would be wonderful. Thank you. And we, we had 2 of them installed on the front of the, temporarily installed at the water plant on Lake Street, and it's not a very good they're not very lightly used, and those need to go somewhere else if we're to do it, but they're slow. I don't know the different levels, but I'm understanding that the level 3 is the fast charging.
Yeah, level 3's
We're definitely.
where most of them are going. Most of Teslas are level 3 at this stage, so they're definitely standardizing on more level 3's just because they get more use. What do you guys have a level 3 for the F-150s yet, or are you just?
No, the ones we have are just slow ones. We've ordered adapters so we can charge at the Tesla. Those aren't in yet, so hopefully we'll get those relatively soon. I know we're gonna take them over to Meyer and see how quickly they actually charge. So, but right now it's just, like I said, we're just running them off of 110 in the garage.
Yeah, and with that level 3, I guess, what is the power draw on something like that? Is that like a 220 outlet kind of deal, or is that larger amperage? I mean, how does that work exactly?
Yeah, I don't think it's a outlet. I think you have to have direct wire into the system for,
Yeah.
I've always seen them direct buried and tapped in. I actually don't know the actual voltage. I could find out, but
Yeah.
It's more than an outlet type of a.
That's what I always
Yeah.
assumed, yeah, I was just curious.
Tucker, do we have anything else on charging stations here?
The water department has asked that we move the Lake Street station. It's kind of in the way for their operations. I know that they purchased the land across the street, and maybe there's an option there once we get the parking lot in for the water filling station to put it there, but if not, maybe we could look at other locations in the future. There's not really anything in particular, though.
And those are fairly slow, so we see a car tied on there for quite a while.
Yeah,
If they're-
yeah, typically it's like a doctor at the hospital who parks there and
they-
charges while he's at work or something
Are
like
they
that.
free?
Yeah, currently, all of the charge point stations, from my understanding, are paid for by the city. If you have the app, you can unlock it, start charging, and we don't collect any fee for that or anything, from my understanding.
So we don't want that.
Yeah, yeah.
Put quarters in it.
What was that?
Put quarters in it.
No, it's all operated, I think it's all operated through your phone now, so I don't know exactly how it works. I've never actually been able to successfully unlock a station, so ours don't show up on their map of charge points, but if you download the charge point app, from my understanding, it allows you to unlock the unit even if it's not on their map. So it's quasi charge point, quasi, not really. I don't fully understand.
So is Tesla going to be contacted to get the ball rolling on?
Yeah, I plan on reaching out
Okay.
now.
I think that's what we're gonna try to do next.
I think that's the first, that's the first big partner. We can try other community partners.
A couple other names, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna look at our options.
Maybe we'll craft a letter or something to them and
Yeah.
see what we get back.
Do we have data to supply, like how many people have a car that needs to be charged?
I don't record all the complaints I get, but I do get a lot of complaints.
And we see quite a few Teslas on the road around the
I don't know.
community, so.
I don't know about, I know who Tesla is, of course, but I just think they're probably a little bit data-driven.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
So if you're gonna write a request to them, I mean, we're gonna have to say, like, we know there's at least a minimum level
Right.
of use by people who live or visit in our community, because otherwise, they seem pretty high on the return on investment
Yep.
kind of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So.
They want to make money if they're going to spend money.
yeah.
Well, and then the partnerships they have, like if you travel outside of LaPorte and you go past a Culver's, Culver's in central Indiana has like 20 Tesla charging stations in the parking lot because it's good business for both groups of people, right? That's the whole idea behind the partnership, is you find a place where the people stop and they spend their money while they're there. So like what kind of places do we have like that in LaPorte? Because typically, I mean, you don't want the person just like hanging out in their straight
Right.
parking lot somewhere in the middle of nowhere, right, with nothing to do. The idea is you're charging your car and you're driving people to spend their dollars while they're waiting for that to happen. So, like, where do we have that in our community?
Yeah, grocery stores mainly, I would think.
But they
yeah.
built enough parking lot at our Culvers.
Yeah.
They have a lot of parking lot.
Well, I mean, I guess the other part that we could talk about is, I mean, in the future, would it be worthwhile to impose some kind of building standard where if you have a X amount of parking spaces, or you have a business that relies on, like, people staying and spending money, do we require them to include a certain amount of charging spaces available in that lot, right? I mean, and then for future buildings, that would just be an imposed standard, and that would kind of come about naturally through time. I don't know if we could do that and make sure it was a reliable system, or implore them to use any kind of service in particular, but, I mean, that's just an idea.
I know another thing that consultants do is they reach out to the large local employers as well that have large parking lots, and employees that are there working 8-hour days or whatever. And, usually if you've got a large population of workers, there's a percentage of them that have an electric vehicle at this point. So that's another avenue we could take that on rather than let a consultant do it, just reaching out to a few employers.
Yes. It's good, thank you, because I think that's one of the priorities I think that the mayor would like to see, is getting some charging stations, and I experienced it personally with just some friends that were going to visit and didn't have a place to charge their vehicles, so.
How does the library feel about it, Fonda?
I bet Tesla has, if you reach out to them like you were going to,
Yeah.
I'm sure they have the parameters and, they know where their
You know
vehicles
where all
are
the
at.
cars are.
Yeah,
They can tell you there's so many, or percentage in this area, or LaPorte County, or what have you.
Well,
Yeah.
the new Tesla charging stations are agnostic to the make and model of vehicle, aren't they?
I think
Right.
they decided to open it up for the other vehicles,
Right,
yes.
yeah,
Most vehicles have adapters.
They talked about, I think,
Yeah.
Devin, you said you have adapters.
we do. So, the library, when they built the new parking lot, did build capacity to add, I think, at least 2 charging stations. We just don't have the stations. So,
Do you want 2 charge point stations?
They don't.
We have to.
well, we have capacity to get them, I mean, we built it in there. It's just when we built that, it was like, where do we get them, how do they know? So there were a lot of questions. Certainly interested in finding out how we could get that done. So,
There may be a location for the 2 we aren't using,
sure,
so.
sure. I mean, if you're saying we don't have to buy them, and what?
There's an install cost, but there might be something for us to look at.
Sure.
So,
No, it's there. It's just not used right now.
Thank you.
thank you.
So the solar, just a real quickie, Tucker, what you know about, I know we're adding some solar to water, and where else?
Yeah, so we're adding solar capacity to our Kankakee well site and water plant 2, where we also have wells. Those are our 2 largest utility draws for the water department. And hopefully, I think the numbers say, 30% of the power in the wintertime, 70% in the summertime, hopefully, I think, roughly. So, like about 50% on average. And they will pay themselves off before the 10-year mark, and that will probably go down if NIPSCO prices keep going up. So,
What was the second site you said? You said Kankakee Well Site and,
Plant 2, which also has wells.
Yeah, we call it the East Treatment Plant, or East,
Yeah, East Treatment Plant,
East
East Treatment Plant well site, yeah. Yeah,
You want to talk about the ITC?
Sorry. Yeah, so as a part of that, we were able to luckily get in before the program went away. It's a tax credit for the system, so we will receive a 30% return or tax credit for the total value of the project. So I think we're spending about $2 million, if I remember properly. And so a third of that will come back as a tax credit in year 2. Which decreases the price by 30%, which also improves our payback period. The federal government did take that program away, but we were able to take advantage of it beforehand. They did not take it away for battery charging facilities or battery storage facilities. So that's something, going back to Jerry's point earlier, that we could still probably take advantage of. And as we build out our solar capacity, I think that's something we will look at further.
Thank you. We have a visitor, Don Dotson here. He's kind of observing and may, if he finds us interesting, he might be a new member. So
Yeah, would you want to stand up, Don?
we have an opening, so.
Yeah.
Sure.
Microphone on? Is it on?
Yep.
Okay. I'm a resident of Fort for approximately 30 years. Came here via Cleveland, Detroit to Chicago to LaPorte. My wife's family was originally from LaPorte, and that's how I ended up here. Been retired since like 2014. Just interested in what's going on in the community. I do volunteer at the PAC Center. I am garden director for the PAC Center Gardens for one of the gardens. Been with them for about 5 years. My background is basically mostly in horticulture, so that's part of what I was interested in this committee, was some of the sustainability of our natural resources. And any questions?
No,
Nothing in particular.
thanks for being here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And welcome if you decide to.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah, after this meeting, if you still have my phone number, or if you don't,
Yes, I do.
I can give it to you, and you can just
I do.
let me know if you are interested or not, and then I can let the mayor know.
I'm interested.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No other visitors that I see, so any announcements, anything anybody else wants to bring to the attention of the commission?
Arbor Day will be Friday, April 24th.
Friday, April 12th. We got the date early enough, so we ought to.
That
be
gives
able
us
to
6 months.
We can do it,
We ought to
Tucker.
pull it off.
We can do it.
Yep.
That's
For anyone
plenty-
listening
that should be
online,
lead time.
we are soliciting any kind of donations for Arbor Day this year. We're going to have quite the event.
It was a good meeting, and thank you, and we'll work on getting another guest. So,
I was going to ask, do we know what department or guest for next, do we have
you got any
an
ideas?
idea?
Doug?
I was aiming for water next.
Water, okay.
Yeah, I think we stay in the utilities, and then maybe we go to roads after that, street department after that. Figure it out.
Okay, I'll give this to Tim so that he can see what he has to.
Prepare himself for. Yeah. I'm sure you could answer most of the questions, Todd.
Any other business before the commission? And let's have a motion to adjourn.
Are we good on the timing of the November meeting?
Yep. What-
Yeah, just.
Yeah.
Glad you brought that up. I don't
So
know.
last year we combined November and December. Since we kind of combined September and October this year, I don't know if we want to do the
We
same.
can't do it the week before because that's the state of the city, the Tuesday before.
Yeah.
So like,
And I think we also have Veterans Day in November this year as
that's
well.
November 11th.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's like 3 weeks
So
in a
I
row.
think December 2nd
I think we can
would be
combine them.
5
Maybe.
weeks.
I think we
Okay.
can combine November and December, don't you guys?
First week of December, that
Yeah, the
suggested
holidays.
possibly?
Okay. And do you guys want to do the reorganization stuff before the beginning of the year, or is that something we'd focus on in January? I just want to confirm before I,
Can we talk about it in December?
and then go
Yeah, I
for it.
think
and-
that'll work.
We don't have to hash it out in January. We have some
Yeah.
idea. of
Yeah,
the
That could-
structure,
One of our main things for
and
the
then we
December.
could
go from there.
let us make progress on that.
Heck, yeah. All
Or
right.
can we do December 9th because December 2nd I have traffic.
December 9th works for me.
9th might be okay for me. I think
Yeah, I
it's
don't-
better than it's better than the 2nd.
I'll double check my calendar, but I don't, usually I'm not that far scheduled out, to be honest with you.
I won't have anything interfering.
Everybody generally good with the 9th?
Yeah, I'm good for the 9th.
Do we need a vote, or are we just gonna decide that?
Probably should vote,
Vote on it?
because we'd be canceling 2 meetings. and having-
All those in favor of combining the 2 meetings into 1 meeting on December the 9th, I guess would say, please say aye.
Aye.
I,
And those opposed? Nay, none. All right, I guess we did that. Then a motion carried. Is that what we gotta do? I'm not so good at the motion carried. We're gonna have it December the 9th. I like that hammer. So, and my next motion would be the motion to adjourn, which I think we already have a motion for.
No, we had a second, we didn't have a motion.
That's right, we
So,
had-
we need a motion first, then.
I did, well, okay. First and second, seconded by a bunch of people, so, meeting is over.